When our creative thinking has come to a halt and our thoughts are caught in fruitless repetitive circles, it is time to stop and allow our minds to meander. This was certainly true for Elias Howe, who lived in the mid-1800s and is credited with inventing the sewing machine. The story goes that one day, as he was working on the sewing machine project, he became particularly frustrated. He had been working with a regular sewing needle and had tried many different ways to mechanize it, with no success. He decided to take a break from his efforts and sat at the window of his workshop, gazing out in reverie. He later told his wife what happened. "As I wandered in my mind, a remarkable scene came to me. I was in a deep jungle, and I was in a big black pot with a roaring fire under it. I was being cooked alive. A warrior came at me with a spear raised and ready to thrust. But what I noticed at that moment was something very curious about the spear. It had a hole in its tip." The pivotal discovery in the invention of the sewing machine is that the hole for the thread goes in the tip of the needle, not at its other end, as in a regular needle. The breakthrough had eluded the inventor in his conscious intellectual efforts, but came to him poetically, graphically, in his moment of reverie. Creativity thrives on doing nothing. In the moments that might seem empty, what has been there all along in some embryonic form is given space and comes to life. Today, bring the gift of doing nothing to your challenges that need creative solutions. What's going on here? Things are seldom about what they seem to be about. George Wilson, S.J. Sometimes we are so focused on accomplishing one particular task that our vision narrows and we overlook the obvious cause of pain and distress in those around us. Joey, 15, was almost literally dragged by his mother into my office at the social service agency where I was a family counselor intern. "He absolutely refuses to go to school," she said to me, clearly frustrated. The three of us spent the session in different ways. I was trying to figure out the cause of his school phobia. The mother spent the session expressing frustration at her once cooperative son. The boy spent the session in disgruntled silence, with a couple of one-syllable exceptions. To all my questions, they responded with very little information. I couldn't figure out what was at the heart of the problem. At the end, I said, "Is there anything else you can tell me about all of this?" "No," they agreed. "Well, let's meet again next week, and maybe by then we'll be able to do better," I concluded. "Oh no," the mother said. "We can't come back. We're in the midst of packing. Next week the family's moving to Philadelphia." Finally, I got it. Of course Joey was upset about leaving home and moving across the country. We extended the session and gave the boy a chance to express his grief at losing all his friends, and his mother a chance to understand how difficult that is. This family was moving so fast that they missed the obvious. They needed to slow down to notice. Maybe in Philadelphia. When conflict arises today, take a moment to ask, what is this conversation, comment, request, etc., really about? What we often miss. Sometimes I go about in pity for myself, and all the while a great wind is bearing me across the sky. Ojibwe saying. As you might guess, I love epigraphs, those pithy sayings that capture an important idea in a few happy words. Each of these reflections begins with an epigraph. There are many that I like, but if I had to choose my favorite on many days, I would choose this one. Consider the magnificence of the moments when we remember the Ojibwe saying. Any of the moments of your life can become a wonder. Any situation you're in can be affected by transcendent joy. The two of us are in the grocery store doing the shopping for the week. We are a bit annoyed with each other.